Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Miguel. Today I got another Nubeo in for review, and I want to be upfront right from the start. This watch feels and looks even bigger than the Manta I reviewed previously, and that's saying something. This is a Nubeo Aluminaut automatic limited edition in Lume Grey, and while it's not a watch I personally wear, it's also a watch I can't stop looking at. Nubeo continues to double down on bold, overbuilt, deep sea inspired designs, and the Aluminaut might be one of the most extreme examples of that philosophy. Let's talk about the size because that's a defining characteristic here. Based on my own measurements, the case comes in at 50 millimeters with a thickness of about 22.5 millimeters and a lug to lug of roughly 55 millimeters. The lug width is 22 millimeters. On paper, the lug to lug doesn't sound outrageous, but once you factor in the thickness and the overall mass, this watch absolutely dominates the wrist. On my 6 and 7/8 inch wrists, this thing is just too big. It overpowers my wrist visually and physically, and there's no way around it. Even if you're used to large watches, this one demands commitment. Weight is another big factor. Nubeo lists this watch at 333 grams, but my scale measured it closer to 286 grams with the incised bracelet. Even at that lighter number, this is still a very heavy watch. You feel it immediately, and you feel it constantly. Some people love that tank-like presence. I personally don't, but again, that comes down to preference, not quality. And speaking of quality, there's no denying that this watch is extremely well built. The stainless steel case feels robust and purpose-driven, and I really like the overall case design. The cutouts along the case add visual interest and help break up the mass, and the blue shield protecting the helium escape valve is pretty cool. It's the kind of detail that reinforces Nubeo's deep sea professional dive aesthetic. One of the standout features, just like on the Manta, is the sapphire crystal. It has a ton of visual depth, and looking through it feels like you're looking out of a submarine window into the ocean. The way the crystal sits above the dial and the indices right below it creates this layered, almost immersive effect that makes the watch feel even more three-dimensional. It's dramatic and it works. The dial itself is another highlight. The layered construction is really cool and adds complexity without feeling cluttered. There's a lot going on, but it's executed in a way that feels intentional rather than chaotic. This is one of those styles where you keep noticing new details the longer you look at it. And then there's the lume, because honestly the lume on this watch is insane. The company is using Swiss Newlight. The hands, indices, and entire dial, and even the screw down crown are fully lumed, and it's next level cool. It's easily one of the most impressive lume displays I've seen at this price point, and maybe even beyond that. It's bright, it's long lasting, and it turns the watch into a completely different experience in the dark. If you're a lume enthusiast like myself, this watch is going to speak to you immediately. Inside the watch, the company doesn't clearly specify the movement, but based on the layout and what the caliber looks like, it appears to be a dependable SoCal NH35. That's a familiar story with Nubeo, and it's a sensible choice. The NH35 is reliable, widely serviceable, and well suited for a watch that's clearly designed to be more about durability and visual impact than movement finishing. One of the wildest specs here, especially given the price, is the water resistance rating. This watch is rated to 1,000 meters. Now, let's be honest, no one needs that much water resistance, but there's something undeniably cool about knowing the watch can handle it. It reinforces that overbuild, no compromises approach Nubeo is known for, and it's impressive from an engineering standpoint. The 120 click unidirectional bezel is smooth to turn and has a satisfying audible click to it and almost no backplay. The bracelet deserves a mention as well. It feels solid, articulates nicely, and balances the weight of the case even better than you might expect. It also features a signed mill clasp, which is always good to see. This is not a flimsy bracelet and matches the watch's overall heft and construction. Look, at the end of the day, this is where I land personally. I'll be passing on this model. It's simply way too big and way too heavy for my wrist and my taste, but that doesn't mean this is a bad watch. Far from it. What it really proves is that Nubeo knows how to build a watch. The construction is solid, the specs are wild for the $500 price point, and the attention to detail, especially with the dial and lume, is genuinely impressive. Watches are a very personal choice. My role here isn't to tell you whether this watch is beautiful or ugly, it's to tell you whether the build quality and specifications justify the price, and without question, this watch delivers on that front. If you're someone who loves massive statement-making watches with extreme specs and unforgettable lume, this might be right up your alley. Nubeo may not be for everyone, but one thing is clear, they consistently deliver serious build quality. That's going to do it for this review. As always, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for watching. Be safe out there and stay humble.